Set.
Okay, so today I'm going to be giving you a speedy history of track and field. And to start off, I was going to show you a video of an Adidas commercial. So, some of you may think that track is just like a sport where, a lot of people just run around in circles all day really fast, as fast as they can. But I'm here to tell you that track is more than just that. It includes a lot more events than just running. But like the guy in the video, whenever I do anything track related, I like to get into the proper track attire. So. I'm sure that a lot of you know what track is, or have seen the Olympics, or know what the Olympics are. And today, I will be bringing you up to speed on the fast-paced history of track and field, how it has changed over the years, how it began, and the effect it's had on society today. So, track first began in 776 BC. It's one of the oldest sports. It began in Greece, in Olympia, where it only consisted of one race, which was the stadium foot race, which they just raced around the stadium. And then, in later years, it became part of what is known as the ancient Olympic pentathlon, which consisted of 5 events, known as the long jump, the discus throw, the javelin throw, the stadium foot race, and wrestling. 2 other people that helped contribute to what track is today was Scotland and the Celts in the Scottish Games, and they introduced to us the weighted toss, which we adapted into the hammer throw, and the stone put, which we adapted into the shot put. So now that you know the origin, I would like to discuss to you the current events that we have in track. So the sprinting events, which are usually consisted of small distances, consist of the 60-meter dash, the 100-meter dash, the 200-meter dash, and the 400. The hurdle events are also considered sprints, in which we have the 60-meter hurdles, the 100-meter hurdles, the 110-meter hurdles, and the 400-meter hurdles. The distance events, which are much longer, consist of the 800-meter, which is a half-a-mile race, the 1,500 or the 1,600, which is considered a mile race, the 3,000-meter or the 3,200-meter, which is considered a 2-mile race, the 3,000-meter steeplechase, which is a 2-mile race with hurdles set up in between the tracks, which one has a water pit which you're supposed to jump over, the 5,000 and the 10,000. And there's also the marathon, which is a 26.2-mile race, usually only ran in really big events or the Olympics. The throwing events, which consist of shot put, discus, javelin, and the hammer throw. And the jumping events, which consist of long jump, which is self-explanatory, you just run and you jump. The triple jump, which is, as some people describe it, you run and then you do a hop, skip, and a jump. High jump, in which you run straight up to a bar and you try to jump as high as you can over it. And then pole vault, in which you use a pole to fling yourself over a bar. Track is more than just a sport. It also has a great impact on people's lives. And it's had a great impact on our history. In 1928, when women still had little rights and weren't respected all that much, a woman from Poland named Halina Konopaka won the gold medal in discus throw in the Amsterdam Olympics, and this was a great event a great victory for women everywhere, and it gave women more respect. In 1936, when Germany was controlled by Hitler, the games were to be held in Berlin that year. And Hitler, wanting to show his white supremacy, they built all new stadiums, they built 4 giant courts, they built completely new stuff, and then they lined everything with Nazi flags everywhere. And he said that this would show that, the Aryan race was the superior race. In those Olympics, an athlete named Jesse Owens came, and he was an African American from America, and he won 4 gold medals in the 100 meter, the 200 meter, which he won a world record in, the long jump, which he also won a world record in, and he was part of the gold medal winning team of the 4x1. This was a huge blow to not only Hitler's ego, but to the Aryan nation as a whole, and it also showed that obviously his ideas were flawed and the Aryan nation wasn't the greatest thing on the earth. Lastly, in the 1968 Olympics, in the New Mexico Olympics, when blacks were still being treated poorly and had very few rights and weren't considered that great of people, 2 athletes, Tommy Smith, who is the one in the middle, and John Carlos, who is the one on the right, took 1st and 3rd in the 200 meter. Tommy set a world record of 19.83, and at the award ceremony, the second place, they were supposed to have black gloves on and raise their fist in sign of black power, but John Carlos forgot his gloves at home, so the second place competitor felt sympathetic for them, and he told Tommy to have the glove on his right hand, and for John Carlos to have the glove on his left hand. The right hand symbolized black power in Black America, and the left hand symbolized black unity in Black America. They also wore black socks, which was to symbolize black oppression and black poverty. Track today is often used as a recreational sport unless people do it for fun, or it's also still a very competitive sport, which is at some elementary schools, although it's very few, some middle schools, high school, and colleges around the world that compete for dominance in this ancient Olympic game. In closing, I hope that today you've learned that track is not just a sport in which people, run around in circles and run as fast as they can until they die out. But it's filled with a lot of other fun and exciting events, and even for some people, it's a way of life.
So, Adriana, what did you think?
I liked how he showed the video, and then how he ripped off his clothes with a good attention grabber. His speech was well organized, and he introduced all the topics that he was going to talk about. He had good eye contact, and his slides went well with what he was talking about. I think the only thing he could improve was putting the writing on the slides, because it was kind of distracting to what he was saying. That's it.
Yeah, okay. You do have information coming up that is on the slides ahead of time, and so it's there, and people are likely to kind of read ahead and look at the next thing, even though you've got, you're focusing on one thing. I understand what you're saying there. You do kind of introduce the video. It needs to have a more dynamic introduction, and it goes on a long time. It's a whole minute for your attention device. And you know what? I think you could have done without the video. You could have done the clothes thing, for instance, and I think that would have been a really effective attention device, and just stuck with that and simplify your life a little bit. It did sound like you had 2 or 3 thesis statements in the presentation at the beginning. There's a pretty good preview of what the content is. I didn't hear any citations of the supporting material, and you want to be more consistent on that. I don't doubt that the historical information that you have is pretty accurate. I was uncertain why you picked the mix of things that you did. because you describe events at one point, and then you're talking about the Olympics and, in particular, political elements of the Olympics. I think it might have made more sense to talk about one or the other instead of trying to mix them together. And when you talked about the political events